Okay, so let's get this done quick. BioWare, the Mass Effect people, did a multiplayer open-world shooter where you use these big hulking suits called Javelins, and it runs on the Frostbite engine. But unlike Battlefield, it has no debug console to search for variables to tweak. Furthermore, the game only jumps to 720 on the settings with no internal resolution scaler, on a Frostbite game. Why? So if you're suffering trying to play this on a low-end PC in the absolute lowest settings, there is some hope. This is, after all, the Low Spec Gamer, where we care less about how good this game looks and more about how can I play this under the minimum requirements. My original plan, as always, was trying this on the AMD Athlon 200GE APU, but this game will not boot on any dual-core CPUs, even if multi-threaded. I am very unhappy about this. So I jumped into my personal laptop. This Xiaomi Notebook Pro is equipped with a laptop Kaby Lake i5 and an Nvidia MX150, the laptop equivalent of a GT 1030. Even after dropping to the lowest settings, the results are what I showed before. Not very good. Two things are important here. First, yes, the game is limited in terms of lower resolution options, and there is no way to lower the internal or render resolution of 3D elements in the game on the menu. Thankfully, that is as easy as going into the config file profile currently shown in the screen and adding this resolution scale command to the variables in the file. A value of 0.5 will mean half the internal resolution on the game, and 0.4 will mean 40%. And this is being sampled back to your full resolution. It is an easy way to get some extra performance while still having a somewhat tolerable game. Depends on you, I guess. The second element is NVIDIA Inspector. If you're trying this game on an NVIDIA GPU, you can use this tool, link in the description, to change the driver parameters. Just make sure you are on the latest drivers and select the Anthem profile and set Transparency Supersampling to AA Mode Replay Mode All, and then you can raise the DX LLD bias to essentially cut on the quality of the game's textures. The impact this has on overall performance varies. I have seen it help a fair bit on big drops caused by limited VRAM quantity or bandwidth, but the visual change is quite something to look at. Just use this one with care, okay? Since a growing number of competitive games are registering it as a cheat. The good news is that the combination of both things now leads to pretty acceptable performance. As in most games, indoors is not a problem with a performance that edges closer to 60 FPS, but in the bigger open world that tends to be an issue. However, with a resolution scale of 40% and the lowest textures possible using NVIDIA Inspector, the open world can show about 40 FPS, or as low as 35 during the very intense combat scenes. Not bad at all. This game's combat and flying are actually pretty fun, at least in my opinion, and do not seem affected by the lower graphics or resolutions in terms of playability. The rest of the game, you will have to judge by yourself. I am just happy I managed to extend the lifetime of my beloved laptop yet a bit further, because I do not want to sell this laptop anytime soon, but there are a lot of things that I do want to get rid of, which is why I took 10 minutes of my time to do some changes to lowspecsurplus.com, a simple website where I am now adding more equipment from previous videos that I need to get rid of. A million of you have sent me emails already for some of the stuff there, so I have separated that into its own inbox that I would check periodically, and I have adjusted the prices to make shipping more clear. Remember, I'm not doing this for profit, but rather to get some souvenirs from previous videos into the hands of fans that would appreciate them. So you got to email me the story of why you want that specific thing, make a case for it. Even though I am busy as I could be, I was able to update and maintain a professional looking website thanks to Wix, this video sponsor. Wix is a service to create a professional looking website easily, with no previous experience required. I love how I barely have time to maintain this crazy idea of mine, and yet I can update it with just a few minutes. If you're trying to build a business, you're a freelancer, or you have other creative projects, your own website is a great boost, and you can get started on the link on screen and the description for free. The free plan is actually quite solid, so I really recommend you start there. Thank you to them for sponsoring this video, and you for watching as always.